welcome to my channel. Today's video all about your focus. So where your focus goes, energy flows. And I'm going to explain exactly what your focus is and what it isn't, and how you can adopt a method of watching that energy and noticing, becoming consciously aware of what you're doing and why your 3D reality is as it is. Okay, before we start, I am an author and I am a coach. My coaching is all available on my website. Just pop along, have a look and see what there is on offer there. Another way of getting an element of coaching from me is to join up as a member. It's £10 a month. You do get some email support via the modules on the Ask Evie section, and you also get some courses, subliminals and meditations. If you don't want to sign up for that, you can get some of my subliminals and meditations actually on the website. You can buy them there. Okay, right, what am I talking about? Okay, right, energy. This is energetic. It's an energetic universe. We are energy. Everything is energy and everything is vibrating. Now, when you want to manifest something in your life and you are consciously trying, making the effort to manifest, you may think that your focus is there. So you may think, well, I'm visualizing a lot, I'm scripting, I'm affirming, that's my focus. But that isn't your focus. That is a manifesting technique that you are adopting in order to bring this thing into your life. Your focus is your dominant feeling state. So if your dominant feeling state is frustration, for example, that you don't have what you want, that you've put in all of this work and you don't have it, that is your focus. If your focus is disappointment, where is it? It's not fair, everybody else is getting so disappointed, that's your focus. Optimism, so you're optimistic about the future, you're optimistic about what might come of this, that's your focus. What is your dominant feeling state? So that's what I'd ask you. What are you dominant in? And you need to be truly honest with yourself, because as I say a lot, you cannot hide from yourself. If you pretend that you don't have this dominant feeling state that isn't in line with what you want, those things that you want, it doesn't go anywhere. It's still the actual real feeling, whether you admit to it or not, that's what's going on there. You have to be honest, and then you have to realize what you're doing. So I found it like this. So I do see two parts of me. I see my rational mind and my subconscious as two separate parts of me. But what I did notice with energy, and so I like the term where your focus goes, energy flows. Now I understand what focus is. So if I feel myself in a certain feeling state, which I do sometimes, which is completely out of whack with what I want, I will remind myself, focus, where your focus goes, energy flows. You are flowing energy, so you are sort of bombarding that, growing the energy, or you can even think of it as throwing energy at the thing that you don't want. So you are throwing energy. I mean, you're not really, but it's just one way of describing it so that you stop yourself from doing it. Let's say you're frustrated because you haven't manifested that one particular thing that you want. So you're throwing energy at, I haven't manifested. You're throwing energy at it, and when you throw energy at it, it grows and it grows and it grows. It's like when you have a fear of losing something. You fear the loss of a person, for example. You feel them pulling away. You notice something that indicates to you that they are pulling away, and then you put more and more energy at that. You throw more energy at it, and you feel it a bit more, then you notice something else. So you feel it more and more and more until it grows to a point where something has to give. There has to be something that happens to show you that you are right, they are pulling away, so it'll be the end of the relationship. But it's only because you've directed your focus at it without really knowing it. So if you keep going back to old feeling states, so you are, just think of yourself as activating that. Every time you go back to the past and you go back to a situation that happened that was negative, and you go back to it and you think about it and you analyze it and you try to work out why it happened, think to yourself, I'm giving energy to that. I'm giving energy to the wrong thing. I'm giving energy to what I don't want. I didn't like that, I don't want it again, but I'm giving energy to it. So, and I'm basically saying it probably didn't happen because of this and probably didn't happen because of that. But I'm giving that energy. So I need to stop questioning and stop analysing, because a very good term to use, which I used to use a lot, was, is this serving you or does this serve you? And then I would answer no. And I knew I was going to answer no before I even asked the question. But actually jumping in, actually stepping in with that phrase before it gets out of control is really good. It's like a switch phrase, and it pulls you back. You think, no, this isn't going to serve me. So you'll stop for a bit, and then half an hour later you'll find yourself doing it again. And then you do it again. And then you pull back, and then you'll find yourself doing it again. It will happen a lot before you stop doing it so much. I still do it now and again, just now and again, not very often at all. And when I notice that, I think, oh God, how did I do that and not notice, but I can pull myself back from it. It's a practice and it's a learned behavior. Like I spoke in the last video about neuroplasticity. It's that you're creating a new pathway in the brain. It's a new learned behavior. Anything that you learn, like say you learn a new language, you teach yourself a new language, then you know that language, you get it. You've created a new pathway in the brain. This is you creating a new you, really, because you're adopting a new behavior. You are adopting a new habit. But it's difficult to start with because it's different. We get used to what we get. We almost get comfortable with those kind of behaviors that don't serve us because we're so used to them. They are in a way comforting, which sounds a little bit weird, but it is true. We get comfortable with the same old, and pulling ourselves out of it is uncomfortable. We're trying to do something different. We don't maybe like the way it feels at first, or we don't get results as quickly as we think we should, so we stop and we go back to the old way. But when you do that, you have to bring yourself back to the new way. It's about persistence, and I know that can sound a bit boring sometimes, but why not? Why persist? Think about it. This is a really good way of looking at it. If you've been persisting at manifesting for a long time and nothing's happened, well, you're good at persisting. You are good at persistence. So persist at this, a new way of thinking. You cannot get a different result by doing the same thing. You have to do something different. So again, sit down and take some time to yourself and think, what am I more focused on? Am I more focused on what I don't have and how I don't have this thing that I want? Or am I more focused on having it, or the possibilities of it, or the optimistic feeling about it, the excitement about it? What am I more focused on? And if it's the lack of, then that is your dominant feeling state, and that is why you are seeing the 3D reality that you are seeing, and nothing more than that. Everything is internal. It's all 4D then 3D. It's not 3D and then 4D. So it's that being honest with yourself and then noticing yourself doing it, pulling yourself back. You don't have to use the phrase, does this serve me? You can use anything that suits you better, but you need to stop doing it. So you need to create a different habit, and then your habit will become pulling yourself out of it, and then eventually you won't even be doing that because you won't even go there and you won't do it. I instinctively kind of mostly, even if my brain goes to do it, I instinctively just pull back without even having to think about it, because I've created a different pathway in my brain, really. So on a subconscious level, I've created something different, and I've created a new belief and understanding, but in my brain, I've done it too. Basically, you have to bring it back to your awareness. You have to become aware of what you're doing. And not only do you become aware of it, you get determined to change it, to change these habitual behaviors, because that's all that they are. And I was saying this to a client today, our brains aren't really designed to help us succeed or to make us succeed. They are designed to protect us, basically. So that is why your mind starts saying, yeah, but could it be this, and it might not be happening because of this, and what if this is happening, and what if that's happening, what if I'm deluded, blah, 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 blah. That's what your brain does, and that's what it's designed to do. It's looking out for you. It's not being cruel to you. It's not trying to piss you off. It's just trying to look after you. But you have to separate your rational mind from your subconscious and think, do you know what? I understand what you're doing. I understand that you're trying to protect me, but I don't need you in this instance. So you have to have lots of words with yourself in order to get better at this, again, because like everything with this, it's a practice. But don't look at just the fact that you're changing you're on a subconscious level. Look at creating a new pathway in the brain. That's what you're doing. So because I talked about neuroplasticity in the last video, and a lot of people did express an interest in it, so think of it like that. You are doing that too. The more we do something different, and so we create a new habit, that's what happens. Something changes in the brain. It's not just on a subconscious level, but you have to get real about it. You really do have to, and I had to get really real with myself. Come on, look, this is what you're doing. Don't pretend you're not, because you are. And do you want something to change? Yes, well, you've got to stop doing this then. You've got to do something different. My brain, my mind has always run away with me, and I've always overthought things. I don't anymore, not at all. But kind of analysed things in a way. Why was this said? Why was that said? What did this mean? What did I say to make this happen? And then kind of like not resolve anything in my mind, not analyse it to a degree where I thought, okay, I did this, this and this, so I can't do that again because that's what's going on here. I didn't do any of that. So it wasn't useful to me at all. So I understand, but I was determined to create different habits. Like, that didn't serve me in any way, shape or form in my life at all. It didn't serve me. I can analyse things in, if something happens in my life and I think, oh, that was unexpected. Oh, okay. What was I feeling when that happened? What was I doing? What was I feeling? And kind of, I can look at it in an interested fashion. So I'm interested in what I was doing, what I was feeling at the time that allowed this to happen. If it's something that's kind of surprised me and I wasn't expecting and it's maybe negative, then I like doing that, but that serves a purpose for me. That really does, because that helps me, because then I can go, oh yeah, I was feeling this and I was talking about this and building up the energy of this, so of course this happened. So that's really useful, but I didn't used to do that, but that is a useful habit to get into, but doing it from an interested point of view, not a frustrated point of view. Because if you think about the energetic value of frustration, that's not in line with what you want at all, and it's not suddenly going to come. But saying that, you could wake up tomorrow and start creating new habits and really feel it and think, no, I'm done with that, and not feel frustrated. Then you could manifest that afternoon. So in one respect, it is kind of really immediate, but generally that doesn't happen. Sometimes that happens with some stuff for me and some stuff not. But when you're looking at creating a new habit, it does take a bit of work. It does take persistence. But like I've said, if you've been persisting at manifesting, you can certainly persist at this. Right, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd love you to do that.